Welcome into the show, everyone. I'm your host, the Unhinged Father. Hope you're having a fantastic week so far. Going to be doing a TV show review today. Going to be reviewing a show that my wife and I have gotten into and have been watching as of late, with last weekend being Easter. It also falls in line with that as well. And here's the trigger warning for all of you people out there that are easily offended, which if you're here listening to this podcast and you are someone who's easily offended, what the fuck are you doing here? This is not the podcast for you if you're someone who does get offended easily. Anyways, this week I am going to be talking about something that does have to do with religion. The show I'm going to be reviewing is a religious show. It has to do with Christianity. So if that's not something you're interested in or not something that you want to listen to, then go ahead and tune out and listen to the longer episode later this week. For those of you that are still here, this week, I'm going to be talking about a show that's really popular, but also one that I don't feel like very many people know about unless you're within some sort of sect of Christianity or you've heard about it through a church or something like that. But this week, I'm going to be talking about a show called The Chosen, which is about the life and ministries of Jesus Christ. Now, is this something that you can watch even if you're not Christian, even if you don't know the stories? Yeah, it's something that you can watch, and maybe it's something that you learn from, and it could even be something that's more enjoyable. But I will be fully transparent in the fact that if you didn't grow up reading the Bible, if you didn't grow up with some of the stories from gospel, or you don't know much about Jesus, that this show, you might be kind of lost within the show. That being said, I'm not discouraging you from going and watching it or listening to this podcast. I just want to be fully transparent with you that it is something that could be a little bit difficult for you to follow. Now let's go ahead and jump into the meat of this, right? If you've ever watched any type of show that's somewhat religious or follows anything about like Jesus or the Old Testament, you know one thing. It's that usually when someone makes a movie like this that has religious undertones or is directly religious, man, they just fucking suck. They are terrible. Production quality is low. Acting is absolutely abysmal. It's like fucking C-time TV or movies, right? Except for maybe VeggieTales, because VeggieTales was awesome. Like if you were a kid and you grew up within the Christian faith, you probably watch VeggieTales and you still know the fucking song, broccoli, celery. And I've just hit so many different core memories with anyone who's seen that show and grew up with it. And besides that, you've got The Passion of the Christ that our boy Mel Gibson did, which was a good movie, but let's be honest, it was just basically fucking torture porn where you watch Jesus be beaten savagely, whipped, bloody. It was a very graphic movie and I think important for certain aspects, but not necessarily known for its acting or like the story or the message. It's just one small aspect, which it's an important aspect, but one small aspect of Jesus' story. The Chosen is different. The Chosen is fucking amazing. It's a great show, good production value, excellent acting, pretty good special effects in there as well. It's just something that it's very, very well shot. Cinematography is good. And it does such a great job of showing the life and ministry of Jesus in a way that's really relatable. When you're reading these stories in the Bible, you have issues of different translations and people writing down things in different styles, different formats, and you may actually get lost more within the format or the structure of the story and just pick up on the symbolism or the base moral message as opposed to actually getting into the narrative of it and viewing it as an actual story. The show, The Chosen, does a great job of breaking down these barriers that you may have when you're reading through these different things and breaks through some of the translational aspects of it and the format aspects of it, the way that people are writing the words, the verbiage that they're using, and bringing it to the big or the small screen, actually showing you things to where you can watch it and see how is someone reacting? What are the humanistic aspects of this person within the story of the Bible? How are they internalizing all of these things? You get to see all of that portrayed. Obviously, it's through the lens of whatever the director or the producers and the actors are portraying to you, but you get to see this interpretation, and it may actually add quite a bit to what you've learned in the past. You get to see that Simon Peter was a real person and kind of a hothead and a little bit of a dick. And you get to see that Matthew was this awkward, weird person who didn't really believe, didn't know much about the Jewish traditions or the faith. He was this tax collector who was ostracized. And it's just really cool to be able to see this on the screen, to be able to see this as opposed to trying to read it and making it up within your imagination. It's kind of like, it's good to have both aspects if you're reading a book, right? You read the book, you have this idea in your head, and then you watch the movie. The only thing I can compare it to is Harry Potter. They're both good in their own sense, and they actually add to each other when you compound them on top of each other. That's how I view The Chosen. It's adding a layer, an understanding to the Bible, the teachings of Jesus, the things that you may already know about. And just quickly, because I can't really put this into words, but the actor who plays Jesus is just so fucking good. It's the best portrayal of Jesus I've ever seen in my life. He's funny. He's relatable. He portrays the human aspect of Jesus so well, but also brings this like power and this presence to him that makes you believe that in the Christian faith, you believe that Jesus was both fully human and fully divine. And the actor brings this sense to the show. And it's so good. I love the way that the actor portrays Jesus. And it's probably one of my favorite parts of the entire show is his performance. So yeah, I highly recommend this show. I think that it's fantastic for anyone. If you're Christian, if you grew up with these stories, if you believe in Jesus, or even if you are someone who kind of isn't necessarily fully in the faith anymore, but you grew up and you understand some of this stuff, this show is a good one. And I think that the underlying message is a good one for people in general. With so much trash TV and so many shitty shows that are just so negative, this show has a message of hope and a message of forgiveness. Even people who aren't Christian can go through and or aren't religious. They can say stuff like, hey, I like Jesus. I like the teachings of Jesus. He was very accepting. He was full of forgiveness. He was the redemption that shitty people like me needed. And this show gets to show that in a whole new light. It does a great job, and it's pushing me to try and be reflective in my life and to add more forgiveness in there. Now, there's one thing that doesn't matter if Jesus told me this or not. I am not forgiving people who wear fucking Crocs to the gym. It's just an unforgivable sin. One-way trip to the fucking fires of hell. So go check it out. There's 4 seasons. 3 seasons are currently on Prime. Let me know what you think. If it's something that you like, something that you enjoyed, definitely let me know. Other than that, that's going to do it for this short episode this week. Got another full episode coming to you on Friday. Well, hopefully on Friday, possibly on Saturday. Really just kind of depends on how the two little demons that I've got running around here. I mean, sweet little angelic boys that I have. Treat the rest of the week, and if they actually get some sleep, and let me get some sleep. But other than that, give me a listen on Spotify, podcast, follow, 5-star review if you like it. And as always, be good, try hard, do your best.